What's up, beautiful people? The first thing I'm just showing here is a general look at the tank. It's very messy. The reason being is I can't actually keep isopods in this setup. They get absolutely demolished every single time I try to add them. That even goes for dairy cows, which are ordinarily, an absolutely crazy prolific species. They do not like any form of isopod in here with them, and you can actually see right now why. The numbers are just insane. Anyone keeping Crematogaster Scutellaris at low number rates, just be prepared for what the future holds. I must say, since adding them in the natural setup, they have seemed to do much better. However, they were already booming before I added them into a natural setup, so I couldn't really say if that's strictly true. Everyone who keeps this species is having massive success with them. There's only a really rare few amount of people who can't keep this species or haven't been successful in those founding stages. The actual colony itself, they'll take caustics, as you can see right now. They'll take any form of sugar, any form of protein, and I'll tell you now, anything that is in there will be absolutely demolished. I started to feed mice or pinkies to these because I found it a lot easier, but then I started to run into a few problems with that, in that it doesn't really it's not very hygienic, and it doesn't stay in there long enough for me to warrant keeping it in there without the mold approaching. Whereas ordinarily in a setup, if I had isopods and a hell of a lot more springtails, there would be no problems at all. But when you look at the front of it there, I don't know if you can see, but all of that movement, I'm having to put apples in there, sugars, snaps, different things to keep them full, and they're just bottomless. They do not stop eating. They do not stop growing. I'm now at the point where I actively know that I need a new setup. I need to expand this nest. Although it's a big tank, it's a 50 centimeter cube, so although I know it's a big setup and it's decent size, this is going to have to be extended. I reckon easy another one of these sizes or twice this size for them to actually be happy and live in here forever. Ultimately for me, it's going to be hard to do that for now until I find the space, or get that space that I need to actually get them happy with the space that they currently have. And you will actually see in here how many times this tank changes due to different foods going in and out of the actual setup itself. This is kind of proof how much they eat and how regular I'm changing this every couple of days. You can see there though that there is a fuzzy in there. I was initially feeding them pinkies, but they just eat everything way too quick. Regular feeds, it's a massive antimatters sugar feeder now. Every single 3 days, they go through 30 mils of sugar snaps. Every 3 days from one feeder. That's not taken into account. I've got a 20 mil by MYRMICA feeder, so there's another 50 mil. And also I add a sugar snap on top of that, a jelly pot on top of that. It's just crazy. And ultimately for me, I need to really start thinking about what I'm going to do moving forwards with these. EA has recently done a video on this species, and they are crazy. I had to glue everything in with the lid. They just kept finding ways to escape. Now, the only way they can escape is if they were to chew through all of that glue. The lid itself, though, is already solid to the plastic. They can't chew through the plastic, but they may be able to chew through the hot glue, which some people have advised. And that's the really frustrating thing about all of this. The species itself is so beautiful. They're so active. They keep you on the toes, despite all of their escaping habits and the fact that they're always trying to be mischievous. They're actually one of my favorite species that I keep, purely because of how little they care. They've had mites thrown at them, they've escaped loads. I've had to vacuum them up twice now, and the colony just bounces back like it's absolutely nothing. And to me, it's absolutely nuts that they can do so. And all I've noticed is that they need is some dry areas and heat, and that's it. You can see here, although I'm putting in 3 jelly pots. Ordinarily, I would put in the 2 feeders and the 1 jelly pot, but I did run out of snaps, so I have ordered some more snaps, which you will see on previous videos, because this footage is from about a month and a half ago. I've noticed they have a very erratic rain response, and I assume it could be similar to RUGINODIS, how they can't deal with tunnel collapse because they nest in friable soil, whereas these, they possibly can't deal with rain because Could be because of where they are native, or at the same time just because it's not really their preference. And I will show you what I mean, just as a small example. But what I did, I moved one of the air plants that was actually dead. I noticed it had detached from the piece of wood and it was on its last legs. I moved it just slightly. Now, can you see how many are going absolutely nuts? So not only are they nesting underneath in the drainage layer, in the sand, in the soil, they're actually also nesting within even the air plants, the pieces of wood I added to it. It's absolutely bonkers. They nest everywhere. I had to then just slowly move this back to exactly where it was because I didn't want to disturb them too much. And also at the same time, the queen could potentially be inside this air plant. I don't really know because it's a natural setup, so I haven't seen the queens since I had them in this setup, and ultimately I don't want to damage the colony. But you can just see the reaction you get to protein, the reaction you get to sugars. They never stop. Even now, you look there, this is like a day or two after, you can see how much they've ate that green jelly, the red jelly, everything. It's just crazy. I reckon easy now, if I had to give you a number or a work account, I would easily be saying it's around 6,000 plus. Without fail, easy 6,000 plus. And again, look at those numbers just actively going to them protein pots. It's bonkers. So what am I going to do next? That's the thing. I am actually going to inform you all of what I will be doing with them. My next plan is I will be drilling 2 holes in either side, left to right, of the tank itself. I'll be attaching another 2 setups, not this big, but I'll probably be doing them around 40 centimeter cubes just to save me a little bit of space. I may potentially try and add one on the top and make it like a stack, but I don't know how I'm going to do that. But this is a time lapse just over a day of them eating the protein from that cup, and you can see just the thoroughfare, the everything, how much movement, how much life, how much they tear everything down. They don't care. They will eat everything until it's just the outer skin. And frustratingly, I can't constantly keep up with the maintenance on them because there's always so many dead bodies, so many carcasses laid around that, I mean, for me, ordinarily, isopods would be able to eat and they'd be absolutely fine at doing that. However, these, they don't like isopods, as I mentioned previously. So maintenance wise as well, it's also not just that, it's the maintenance that actually goes into keeping these ants, because they will not tolerate any isopod or any form of cleanup crew except for the arid springtails. You can see how much they're swarming though, even on the apples, the jelly pots, the protein, the sugar snaps, everything. It doesn't stop. And now they're actually going through a 30ml antimatters feeder within 2-3 days. So the actual upkeep to keep this colony is insane, especially when sugar snaps are so expensive. But at the same time, I know you can dilute them, but then it's going to be gone. You would need to get a huge sugar snap tub. This is a tiny spot on the tank itself, so just looking at one tiny area, and you can see just by looking there how much movement, how much thoroughfare, how many workers are there. And now this is actually a separate tub feeding even more worms, and again you get the same response every single time. And now we'll go on to the crazy protein intake levels. The protein level is every single day, it's 5 mealworms. If I put in a fuzzy or 2 pinkies, it's every 2 days. This shows the upkeep and cost it actually takes to maintain a colony this size. I haven't really tried to hold back much at all, but what I have noticed keeping this colony, if you heat the side, then they'll be great. They'll put all of the brood there, which I will show in a moment, but they'll put all the brood at the side. However, in the actual outworld, or what you would typically have as an outworld area, you'll notice that the workers slow down massively if you don't heat them up. Even in that time lapse, I don't know if you've noticed it, but how much that sugar feeder went down, and that was over the course of a couple hours. Now looking at the side of the actual drainage layer, this is around a 10 centimeter clip of the actual side of the drainage, which is all pupae. They have no larvae here, no eggs. it's all pupae, direct to that heat source where all of them are just going to be workers in the next couple of days. It's bonkers the fact that there's so many just in that small space, and this expands over 50 centimeters, this tank, and that area is full, and I mean full. I couldn't get an angle on it, but just by seeing that one area, you get the gist of what's going on here. But I do hope that you liked the update on this video. If you did, remember to smash that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more updates on this colony or other new projects from me. And again, join the Discord server. If you haven't joined the Discord server yet, a lot of like-minded people in there who not just keep ants, but also all sorts of other invertebrates. And again, if you haven't checked my online store out, then make sure you go and check that out. And also at the same time, go and check Antimatter's store out. These feeders are a godsend in this hobby, especially for colonies this big. But as always from me, peace and love, I'm out.